What's up guys, JV2017 here, and I am bringing you a new Fallout 4 tips and tricks video. And we are continuing my character build series with a very iconic character in movie history. Just a quick reminder guys, this is your hub for daily Fallout 4 content here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned on my channel for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Han Solo character build. Of course, the new Star Wars movie is here, and I thought it would be fun to make a Smuggler-based build for the young version of Han Solo. So this is Han from, episode 4 through 6, not the old Han that will be seen in the new movie. Also, look out for spoilers in the comments, guys, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want it spoiled, because I know there will be some people trying to ruin it for everyone. Just a heads up. Now, before we begin, I want to point out that this is my interpretation of a Han Solo build. I'm sure there are plenty of other ideas out there, so if you'd like to share your version of this character in the comments below, feel free to do so. I tried to strike a balance between being true to Han Solo, but also trying to make this build viable, fun, and interesting to play in the game, so I hope you all will enjoy. One more thing, because I know you guys are going to point it out, my character looks nothing like Han Solo. It seems really hard to make Harrison Ford's face in this game for some reason, so I hope you guys have better luck with that. The three traits that I use to make my Han Solo character are, of course, that he's a smuggler. That's how you're first really introduced to the character. He's working for Jabba the Hutt, he's smuggling items with Chewie. He's kind of, this mercenary type, and so that's really what I wanted to focus on. So you'll see some smuggler kind of perks going on here as much as we possibly can, reasonably within this game. And of course, Han is charismatic. So, he's flirting with Leia a lot, in episode 4, and then he finally gets with her. So I wanted to incorporate things like Lady Killer and having a certain amount of charisma to kind of match Han's character. And then finally, he's got his iconic blaster pistol, supposedly one of the best in the galaxy, whatever. The blaster pistol is just something he's known for. It's iconic for the character. So, of course, there's no blaster pistols in this game, and he does use other weapons, but I wanted to focus on this. So, of course, we'll get some nice laser weapons to kind of go along with, being true to Han. Of course, there are many other traits that I could have, focused on, and I'll kind of touch on those in the extra perks portion of this video. The special stats for this Han Solo build look like this. They're 1 strength, 2 perception, 1 endurance, 7 charisma, 6 intelligence, 7 agility, and then finally 6 luck. So this is a 30-point build, so that includes the 1 perception bobblehead that you'll get at the beginning of the game, and an extra point anywhere else to knock you up to the 30 points. So the plan here is to grab the signature perks for Han, being true to Han, making his character as realistic as we possibly can within the confines of this game, and also to gradually work into luck, because luck is fantastic for damage, and the primary combat focus for this build is maximizing those critical hits. Now let's talk about the signature perks that will really define this build for Han Solo. They will be Cap Collector, Lady Killer, Science, Gunslinger, Sneak, and then Ninja, and we're going to go one by one and look at each of these perks in the perk chart right now. First, we'll look at Cap Collector, and keep in mind these are in no particular order, so obviously Cap Collector is not the most important perk for this build, obviously, but Cap Collector is something that kind of aligns with Han's, smuggling job. He is a smuggler. And so getting better prices at vendors and being able to sell for better prices is just something that, I think is a natural extension of his character for this game. It's pretty much as good as we're going to get in terms of, smuggling. There's another perk that I'll get to a little bit later that will also fit in, but Cap Collector is something that I would go with for a Han build. Next, Lady Killer. This is something that kind of aligns with, Han being charismatic, of course, his interactions with Leia, and then eventually being able to, swoon her, or she swoons for him, whatever. He is a charismatic guy, and so having these extra, dialogue options with, the females is something that I wanted to incorporate with Han as well. Next, we're going to jump over to Science. This is all about being able to mod his laser-based weapons. Of course, we're going to be focusing on laser guns, and so Science is a natural extension of that. Being able to get access to these high-tech mods at different ranks is something that is important for this build. So, of course, Science is going to be a signature perk for Han. Next, of course, is Gunslinger. So we're going with this semi-automatic, which will be the same thing as non-automatic pistols, in order to deal our damage. And we're going to be going with laser guns, of course, like I just mentioned. So this is going to be your non-automatic laser guns. They're going to deal more damage if you decide to take Gunslinger, and that's definitely what I recommend. As you go up the ranks, you'll get double damage at rank 5, level 42. And you get all these other bonus things like being able to disarm opponents, increase the range, and also, even crippling a limb, which is useful as well. So Gunslinger is going to be the kind of the focus for this build in terms of combat. We're also going to take Sneak. So this is something that I kind of thought about, and I wanted to distance this from another build I've already done. I don't want to kind of do the same build again. And I wanted to incorporate Sneak because, I wouldn't say that Han is a necessarily sneaky character. He is even flashy. He even suggested in episode 4 that they not sneak into the Death Star with the, stormtrooper costumes on. He suggested that, but I thought this was a nice kind of addition to the build that would make it really viable and more fun to play in the game. So I incorporated Sneak into this build, and that's something that, I would advise you guys do as well. So of course, as you go up the ranks, you'll get you'll be harder to detect while sneaking, and you'll be able to run and have some other benefits for Sneak. And also you can level up Sneak very early. That's why I like Sneak as well. So finally, Ninja. Ninja is something that goes along with Sneak. So you'll be able to sneak around with your blaster pistol and get some very high damage, initial attacks on enemies. And if you're playing on normal, this is just insanely powerful, especially once you get your hands on a very good weapon, and I'm going to show you which weapon I recommend, 100% for this build. But Ninja is essential to dealing a ton of damage with this build, and it'll definitely help you on higher difficulty modes, but without, Sneak and Ninja, I just don't know where this build goes in terms of dealing a lot of damage. Some additional perks that you should consider taking that kind of make sense with Han's character are first, Animal Friend. The only reason that I suggest this is because of Chewbacca, and he's not an animal. He is another alien species, I understand that, but if you want a little bit more of, of role-playing into the Han Solo character, you could have some fun with Animal Friend, having some animals follow you around. So that's something, you might want to go with. Local Leader is something else, and the only reason I suggest this is to kind of give the idea of smuggling within Fallout. Although it's not smuggling at all, you're literally just, establishing trade lines between locations. But if you're really wanting to play and role play as Han Solo, I think this could be a nice perk to take as well to kind of, immerse you into that experience if that's what you're going for. Robotics Expert is something else. Of course, Han, pilots the Millennium Falcon, as he calls it. And so Robotics Expert just makes sense. He knows that ship in and out. And so that's another reason that I would take kind of a lore-based character for Han. Something that's going to help you with combat and with any agility-based character is Action Boy. So, regenerating those action points faster is something that will just help you in combat, Really, ideally, you're going to be one-shotting a lot of enemies. You'll see in my gameplay, I one-shot a lot of enemies. But having Action Boy in your back pocket, especially on higher difficulties, is going to help you out as well. Fortune Finder, way up at Luck 1, is something that kind of aligns with his Smuggler archetype. So, you're just going to get more caps, and having more caps is just a good thing. It's just a good benefit. So you could go for Fortune Finder. Scrounger is something I would take for more fusion cells, because we are using laser weapons only, and I wouldn't say fusion cells are the most abundant ammo. I would say 38 rounds are, and so Scrounger will just help you, avoid running out of ammo, because laser pistols and laser weapons at lower levels, before you get really insane good perks like Sneak and Ninja, will require a lot of bullets to take down enemies. And so, Scrounger is something that will get you more ammo for those types of situations. Bloody Mess, I literally recommend this on every video, just because it's more damage. More flat boost of damage is always a good thing. So Bloody Mess, consider going into that as well. Better criticals is obvious. Of course, like I said, we're going to work into the luck tree. We're only starting at luck 6 in the beginning, to fill that critical meter, but, the long-term plan is to work in these perks all the way down here. And so Better Criticals is the first perk that really synergizes super well with the rest of them, so you're going to get more damage from your criticals. That's going to be insanely good when paired with Ninja and Sneak. I mean, just so good. So after Better Criticals, of course, Critical Banker is here. You're able to save a critical in your back pocket, for, a legendary enemy or just a very tough enemy, maybe a skull, icon enemy, someone who's way above your level that you want to take down, Critical Banker will be very helpful there. Of course, next, Grim Reaper Sprint. You have a chance to restore all of those action points. That's going to be helpful when you're encountering large groups of enemies, especially on higher difficulties. And for Leaf Clover, last but not least, very good. Each hit in bats has a chance of filling that critical meter. Excellent chance at rank 4. So all of these luck perks will synergize together, and your Han character will be very, very overpowered very soon in the game if you invest in all of these perks. Now let's talk about what I like to call the Perk Roadmap, which is pretty much which perks you'll be taking at the starting levels and just for the first 10 levels. This will give you a nice foundation for starting your Han Solo character. So for the roadmap, at level 2, the first perk I would take is Gunslinger. This is all about that blaster pistol, being able to deal damage with, non-automatic pistols. Of course, you'll start with regular pistols. You won't be able to get a laser gun early in the game to mod into a laser pistol. Next at level 3, I would take Sneak. Again, we are a sneak-based build, Sneak with Ninja, so Sneak is important to take early. And also the rank 2 of Sneak comes very quickly, so I would take Sneak at level 3. Next, I would take Lady Killer. This is kind of the only spot that I could fit it in that makes sense because we get a lot of our second rank abilities very early in this build. So I took this right here. That'll give you unique dialogue options pretty early in the game. So I would take that pretty early. Next, at level 5, I would take Sneak rank 2 because that's as soon as it becomes available. And since we are a sneak-based build, once again, we want to make sure we're maximizing, how effective Sneak is. So I would take that at level 5. At level 6, it's a pretty good time to take Science because you can get a laser-based weapon pretty early in the game, not too early, but level 6 gives you an opportunity for the first laser gun that you come across. You can actually mod it, whether it's a rifle or a pistol. If it's a rifle, you can automatically make it into, a pistol. So that's going to be something that's helpful early in the game when you come across that kind of weapon. Next, Gunslinger rank 2. You have to take this at level 7 because that just directly increases the damage with the weapon that we are focusing on. So really a no-brainer there. Level 8, I would take Lady Killer rank 2. You increase that damage against female opponents and open up more dialogue options for them. So that's useful, of course, and also, true to Han's character as a charismatic kind of guy. And level 9, Ninja. Some of you may want to take this earlier than I did. However, there's just so many rank 2s to get through. There's 3 of them within the first 8 levels that I had to place Ninja way back here. But you could take this earlier. Of course, this is essential to the build and dealing a ton of damage. You're going to get the extra 0.5 multiplier at the beginning, but of course, as you rank it up, you're going to get even more damage for your sneak attacks. And at level 10, I just took Cap Collector. Again, being true to Han's character, he is a smuggler. He's going to want caps. So Cap Collector getting better prices and selling better prices, kind of goes along with smuggling. So that is what I took at level 10. With all of these perk choices in mind, the general kind of combat play style that we're going for here is to be able to sneak around our enemies, catch them not suspecting us, and then dealing massive damage through critical hits with our laser pistols. And I know laser pistols sound kind of wimpy at first, but really, if you pick the right perks, like Gunslinger and Science, being able to mod these things up, there are some very powerful, unique weapons out there that have some awesome modifiers. And so let's talk about those. First off, most of the following weapons start out as rifles. Not all of them, but most of them. So what you'll have to do is take them to a weapons workbench and then make sure that you have the sharpshooter's grip on, because that's the highest, best available grip that will make sure that your laser gun is still a pistol and not a rifle, ensuring that you get that damage bonus from Gunslinger. The signature weapons that I would recommend for this build are Alien Blaster Pistol. That's something you're not going to get until level 20-ish, unfortunately. So that's not something you'll be able to start out with. There's the Good Intentions, which is a unique weapon where the criticals cause a frenzy, and that will cause your enemies to attack other nearby enemies that would normally be friendly to them. So that's an interesting weapon there. Of course, there's Old Faithful, which I covered in a weapon guide already on my channel. You get double damage at full health to enemies. This is a very powerful weapon for this build since we're sneaking around. I mean, this might be the best weapon, period. And you can mod this into a pistol. So think about getting the Old Faithful. That's probably a favorite for you guys. The Prototype PA-77 is another option. It's got the Infinite Clip, which is interesting as well. There's a lot of good, unique laser guns in this game. Next is the Righteous Authority, which is what I'm using in a lot of the gameplay of this video. And the unique thing here is that critical shots cause double damage and your crit meter fills 15% faster. This thing is also really good. I mean, it might be just as good, if not better, for Old Faithful, but probably better for, encounters where you're caught off guard, or, you're fighting a lot of enemies. You're not able to just one-shot them from sneak, one by one. The Righteous Authority is probably the second best weapon that I would recommend for this build. Next is the Survivor's Special, so you get more damage as your health is lower. That's not my favorite, kind of modifier there, but it is a unique laser gun out there you guys can get. And then finally, the Wazer Rifle. This is very hard to get. You have to complete the main story. However, it gives you unlimited ammo capacity. So these are a lot of very strong legendary modifiers on some very good laser weapons, and so you guys should definitely check out those, especially the Old Faithful and the Righteous Authority. Very briefly, you can actually get the Righteous Authority very early in the game. That's something I recommend you guys do as soon as possible. You just have to go talk to Paladin Dance at the Cambridge police station, do that, really quick Institute synth quest, and he'll give it to you at the very end. Also, make sure to pick up all of the fusion cells. That'll give you a nice, steady supply of fusion cells at the very beginning of the game. The last portion of this guide will focus on the companions that I would recommend for the Han Solo build. And unfortunately, there's no giant hairy creatures, so I'm going to kind of improvise with exactly what that would look like. So my recommendations are Deacon, MacCready, or Strong. So the thing about Deacon is he's probably the best, actually he is the best stealth-based companion, because his affinity perk gives you plus 40% stealth boy duration and also plus 20% sneak damage. That's an extra 0.2 to your multiplier, and that's just really helpful. And so having Deacon around, or at least achieving his affinity perk, will absolutely help you with this build. Next is MacCready. He'll give you plus 20% headshot accuracy and VATS. This is all around just a really strong combat-based affinity perk, so MacCready will be a very nice choice for Han Solo as well. And also, finally, this is kind of the only equivalent I could possibly think of to having, Chewbacca with you, and that's Strong. Just because Strong is a big, strong, obviously, character to have around with you. If you want to roleplay as closely as you possibly can, if you're on PC, maybe there's a Chewbacca mod for Strong, making him wear, a bunch of hair and whatnot. Strong will give you, with his affinity perk, when you're below 25% health, an extra 20% melee damage. That's not going to help this build at all. We are not melee based. We have no strength. So, it's not really for the perk. It's really for the role playing. So if that's what you want to do, that is an option that I recommend. Some final observations. Once I was, above level 10 and pushing further, I had obviously had all of these signature perks. And I usually do these builds on normal, because I know most people playing this game are going to be playing on normal. They're not going to bother with the difficulty, but you may want to play on survival yourself. This build is too powerful for normal. I mean, seriously, once I got the Righteous Authority, I went to Corvega, and as you can see, I just one-shotted most enemies that I saw. And so this build, again, I just don't think it's good for normal, because it's not fun. You're just dealing too much damage. So I would ratchet the difficulty up a few notches, and this will be good for survival. This will be very good on survival. And maybe once you're getting even higher up there, this will be too good for survival. There's a lot of potential when you're running an agility, luck-based build. And of course, we added some charisma there for, the Han character. But essentially, this is just a very, very powerful build. So I really want to see, how you guys are able to use this build. And I want to know, after watching this video, will you play a Han Solo build? Will you play my build? Also, how would you do a Han Solo build? What would be your recommendations for a little bit, of wiggle room here or there, maybe some changes that you would make with my build? Let me know. And also, suggest a new character build for me to do in the future, in the following week. Share all of that in the comments below. Alright guys, today I showed you how to make a Han Solo character in Fallout 4, and next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos, and remember that this is your hub for Fallout 4 content on YouTube. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button. I would really appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe for more continued weapon guides, build guides, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.